this year. We are in another episode of Fervently Creation Marketplace Ministry. And this is one of those shows that where, hey, we believe everybody's not called to the pulpit, right? And everybody is not called for us to display our show or reflect God in the same exact way. There are seven mountains, right? Seven mountains of influence. And in that you have to realize that how you may operate in the religious mountain is not the same way that you have to operate in business or in family or in education or in government, whether it's music, entertainment, whatever it is, right? And so one of the things that I tell people every show is, listen, you have to understand that there is five gospels: Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and you. And sometimes the only one that they're going to pay attention to is that very last one I mentioned, is you, right? Why is that? Because people remember how you make them feel. They remember how you made them feel seen, right? How do people leave your presence? Do they leave your presence feeling love? Because the Bible tells you God is love. So if they leave your presence feeling any other way, you have to ask yourself, hey, did I look like my daddy's son? Like, did I reflect my father in this moment? And so my thing to everyone is, once you're going out in the world, I don't care what it is you're doing, you don't have to mention God, but you have to still show up in love. You have to show up in light. You have to be that light in the dark place. Why do I say you don't have to mention God? Because not all the books in the Bible mention God in it, right? But they still made it within the canon. So with that, understand you have to know how to talk to people at all levels. At all levels. All right. So speaking of which, now I have speaking it talking about all levels, God had me ministering in all different ways. Media is one of them. But the other way is through writing. Writing. Listen, I am part of an anthology called Women of Worth, Men of Valor. Make sure you go to Amazon and purchase this book. This is amazing, amazing book. It's coming out this month, the month of February. So listen, I'm not sure when you caught this, but if you caught this in the month of February, go in, check this book out. The visionary for this is Dr. Jackie Hadnot. Let me tell you, very creative woman. And so all of us as authors, we even got a bottle of perfume that had to go with this book, this anthology. So Women of Worth, Men of Valor. Also, I will be in London. Catch me in London, July 18th of this year. I will be with Dr. Kishma George, along with a lot of other amazing, gifted, anointed individuals as well. And so if you're able and just said, hey, you know what? I need to take me a trip out the country, or maybe you're in London and are close to it. Listen, check us out. Make sure you come and hang out with us there. And then speaking of anthologies, I want you to write with me, right? I'm doing an anthology called Rightly Dividing, and it is a callback to sound doctrine. The reason why is because it's a lot of things and a lot of ways that people go and say what's in the Bible, and some of that stuff is not in the Bible. And then a lot of time people weaponize the Bible, and it caused a lot of people not to want to have anything to do with anybody that labeled themselves as a Christian. And so I want to be able to create a group of people that saying, hey, let's go back and actually say what this means. And let's not weaponize the Bible towards people and try to beat people and shame people with it. But let's actually break this down and show what it meant for that culture and what it means for us today as modern people. Now, listen, you might say, hey, that sounds good. I would love to read the book, but I can't write in the book. Yes, you can, because for one, my doctorate is in ministry, right? I mean, it's in biblical studies. And so we're going to take the time and show you how to. So it might be a thing where you say, hey, I don't understand the Bible, but there's this story that I just don't quite get, or I kind of love and I want to know more about it. Take that passage and we will take time and show you how to break that down for yourself, how to understand it for yourself. Now, listen, Rightly Divided is also going to do its book launch in August. And so in there, we have Reverend Rose Marilyn. I call her Rev Mommy, because it's my mom. And then I have Prophet Fanta. We got Apostle Rodney Stanley. We got Evangelist Taliba Rainberry, Evangelist Angela Owen, and Apostle Thomas Evans. They will all be, they're the feature authors of the book, but they will also be the speakers at the conference. Now, this conference is part of a tour. It is part of a tour. I am one of the co-founders of Together We Create for Kids. And so it's 6 authors and we all have one mission. We're giving back to kids. And every stop on this tour is different. So how mine may be a teaching conference, we have different people and different visionaries amongst us. And so it's very creative. I love it. But one of the central themes for each one that stays the same is that we give back to the community. We give back to the kids in there. So we're not only giving them the book bags and other materials. We're trying to give away some laptops at some of the locations. We're trying to give back clothes and shoes as well at some of the locations. And so as well as t-shirts. So if you want to help us with this mission, help us with this, listen, go to the website and I'll bring that up for you here in just a second. But if you go to the website, you're able to go in and purchase packages as well. Listen, if you're hearing from me, use my code TS765 when you do. And then also, let's go here. So let me show you how you can go in and get the packages. You go over here where it tells you to support. And this is the website. Let me put this website down here for you. Here's the website. So you go to this website, and then it has all the packages on here, right? There are different packages, different ones. I know people are like, $1,000 package. Listen, hey, if you can afford it, let me tell you, this $1,000 package also pays for your hotel stay for our final gala that we'll be doing in West Palm Beach, Florida. So here's the packages. You just click on it to support the tour, and then that is how you're able to support. So we are looking for supporters in that sense. All right. And then also other stops on the tour. I will be in North Carolina. This date has actually changed because it fell the same weekend of Father's Day. So we'll be doing it June 19th and June 20th. This is the Rise Together Summit. The visionary behind this is Amber Miller. Again, a lot of our speakers will be receiving their honorary doctorate as part of this as they are helping us. And so again, this will be West Palm Beach, Florida. This is August 8th. And then we also have a couple other stops. Why? Listen, June 6th, June 7th, y'all got to get to Tampa. As a matter of fact, we even have one of our Tampa participants that is going to be with Mo Nelson, the visionary for there. We just passed the test. And so there we have Dr. JR. If you hadn't looked, we interviewed him a few weeks ago as well. And today we got Raheel Siddiqui. I probably messed his name up. So he's going to have to tell y'all again what his name is. I'm from Alabama, y'all. I'm country. So, but anyway, listen, make sure you reach out to them as well. I will get more information on how we're able to register. So I will be in the building. I won't be speaking, but I'm definitely fixing to go and get some knowledge because I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot of knowledge in that room. And I'm all about it, right? Now, speaking of knowledge, and I said, and all you're getting, get understanding. Let's go today for today's word is going to be Galatians 6 and 9. I'm going to come out the amplified version. And it says, let us not grow weary or become discouraged in doing good. For at a proper time, we will reap if we do not give in. Now, I'm going to bring our guest up and I'm going to talk about this a little bit. And then I want to see what he has to say about it, because once I tell you, I know he knows something about this, right? So it says, let us not grow weary or become discouraged in doing good, right? A lot of times we can be on a path, right? And path to success. And after a while, it gets tiring because we put in a lot of hard work and we do not see the change. We do not see it right away. And I don't want to get too far into his testimony, but to give an example, like I used to have a hobby of working out, and I used to do a lot of beach body workouts. And so one of the things that they would do is tell us to, they told us to take our pictures. And I couldn't understand why they was telling me to take pictures. During that time, I didn't want to take no pictures, right? I didn't like myself. I didn't like my body. I didn't want to take no pictures. But what I began to notice, because at that time I was in the military, what I began to notice is that though my measurements probably wasn't changing in the places where I was looking at it at, once I started looking at those pictures at the different angles, it kept me from getting weary and getting discouraged, because I began to see my body shift in different ways. And I began to pay attention to how my body lost weight, where my body lost weight or so. And so it says, for a proper time, we will reap if we do not give in. And so for me, with working out and stuff, we have to understand it. If we continue to reap, to do that hard work, continue to move, continue to adjust our eating habits, continue to whatever it is, right? And do not give in, we will reap it. We will actually have that. So want to ask you at first, please pronounce your name for everyone. But then also, what do you say about not growing weary?
Hey, thanks, Dr. Tish. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think you got it right. It's a Raheel Siddiqui. So I think you said it right. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. No, thank you. Thank you for having me, though. Really excited to be here, and it's an honor. So I appreciate you taking time to speak with me today.
Awesome, awesome. Now, with you, and I want you to kind of give us your story, but from the perspective of someone that, and maybe we probably need to go to, I don't do nothing the same every way. So we're fixing to shift this a little bit. Let's start first with your story, and then let's bring it back to this text, because showing them how your transformation story required you not to grow weary. It required you not to get discouraged, and the good work that you was doing, and to understand it in proper timing, that if you did not give in, that you would actually receive the reward of the desired weight loss or the desired effect. So let's go there first. What do you say to people just in general about not growing weary, not giving in, and not getting discouraged?
Yeah, sure. No, that's a great question. Did you want me to start with the question? Sorry, or my story first?
Whichever way you flow, whichever way you open your mouth, we're gonna go with it.
Okay, all right, perfect. Yeah, let it rip. Let's do it. Yeah, so
Let's do
yeah,
it.
so all right, let's do it. Yeah, I'm all about it. So yeah, one more time, Raheel Siddiqui. Really excited, really fired up to be here. So my story is, man, sometimes it doesn't feel real, but I recently lost 200 pounds, 200. So I started my journey back in 2010 and January, and man, it's been a ride, but very blessed, very thankful, very honored, and just very humbled about my journey, about my progress, about my process, everything I've been through. But to kind of kick off my story here, and then we will go into the question. It's January 2010. I was 27 years old. I was 405 pounds, and my father, who was a healthcare professional at that time, he was a pharmacist. And one Saturday morning, he just looked at me and he was like, "Man, the weight is kind of creeping up a lot." I mean, and I was his youngest son. I'm the youngest of three. I have an oldest brother, and I have a sister in the middle, and I'm the baby. So he was just very scared, very concerned. So he said, "Look, I want to take you to the doctor. I'm getting really worried about you." Now, keep in mind, I was pretty much born obese, overweight my entire life. So from birth, elementary school, middle school, high school, college, post-college, professional life into 27, as I was saying. And on top of that, talk about perseverance and everything we were enduring at that time. I was bullied a lot. I took a really severe beating during my time, man. I mean, I was literally harassed. I was body shamed. I felt like I had body dysmorphia. I would have thoughts in my mind about why me, why me. That was kind of the mindset that I would have. It's like, hey, I have two siblings who were like tall and thin and considered good looking to so many people. Then there was kind of like me, like what happened to this guy, or the accident, quote unquote, or why is he so, I hate using the word. I tell my 6-year-old son it's a bad word, but the FAT word, that's all people would ever classify me as. So I dealt with a lot already up to that point, growing into that moment of 405 pounds at 27 years old. So nonetheless, my father was like, let's go get checked out. Got my blood work done. A few days later, went to go see the doctor. And I feel like I'm notoriously known for this part of the story, the people that know me, but really excited to share it here too. So went to go see the family doctor. Doctor comes out with the results in his hand, looks at my father and I, looks down at the results, flips the pages of the results over in the folder, closes the folder, throws the folder on the side of the counter, looks at my father and I and says, it doesn't matter what these results say. Your son's going to be dead by the time he's 40 anyways. We're just wasting our time being here. And that was it. Like ice cold, man. Like I'm telling you. So like, and I always tell everybody this too. I'm like, my first thought was, well, I'm not going on Yelp and giving you 5 stars, Doc. I mean, sheesh. Talk about ruthless bedside manner. And that was it. And my dad and the doctor went off to the side for a minute or two, and then we left. And the craziest part is I never knew my scores that day, never knew my results, never knew my blood pressure, my sugar, cholesterol, my hemoglobin, nothing. Just walked out of the doctor's office, and that was it. He had nothing else to say to me. So driving home, I remember about halfway home, and this is kind of where like the mindset really started to shift for me, hopefully, or I believe it did, is when halfway home, we were driving home, my father and I was driving, he was in the passenger seat, and he looked at me about halfway home, we're on the highway, and he was like, hey, listen, I need you to pull the car over. I said, why? Is everything okay, Dad? He's like, yes, just pull the car over. I need you to pull the car over, and I need you to pull the car over right now. So I said, okay, I'm like, we're almost home. He's like, I don't care. Just pull the car over. So I pulled the car over on the shoulder in the middle of the highway. I said, yeah, what's going on? And he looked right at me in the face. And he was like, listen, I need you to take this seriously. This isn't a game. And, I tell people this all the time. Like, I'm a dad now too. So a lot of times it's the typical parent-child, maybe father-son or parent-child, either way, like in one ear and out the other, right? It's like a parent lecturing their child. It goes in one ear and out the other. But this time it was like, my father was like looking at me dead in the eyes, and he kind of had like water in his eyes, like tears in his eyes. Like, listen, I'm running out of time. Okay. I won't be there to see you get married. I won't be there to see you have kids, but you still have time. You have to promise me you're going to take control of your health. You have to promise me you're going to take control of your life. And we are not driving home until you promise me. And I'm like, whoa, like, Dad, like what? In my mind, I'm like, what is going on here? And my father at that time was battling a lot of health issues at that time. He had a severe liver issue that was really bothering him. He had like rotator cuff surgery as well, cataracts, and his body was taking a beating. But really the liver issue that he was dealing with was really something that was kind of just really weighing on him per se. So I'm not sure what made him say that in that moment, but to have a father tell his son that he's not going to be there to see him get married, or not going to be there to see his son, have kids, his grandkids, I was just like, whoa. So I was like, okay, Dad, I promise you, I will take this seriously. Just don't cry. Because I didn't want to see my dad cry. I've never seen him in that state in 27 years. And so we drove off, and that's kind of where the journey began. And I remember just coming home that day, looking in the mirror, like, what's going on? One Saturday morning, I'm up, I'm 27, I'm 405 pounds. I'm thinking, like most young adults think and believe, like, oh, everything is okay. Life is okay. I'm good. I'm young. I'm having fun. And then you realize, like, not even a week later, that the doctor tells you you're not going to be alive in 13 years. Your father tells you to your face that he won't be there to see you get married. He won't be there to see you have kids. And what happened, man? Like, what happened, right? It's kind of like that self-defining moment that you have to look yourself in the mirror and be like, wow, where do we go from here? And so then the journey really began. So that was January 2010. And I tried and failed on my own. I kept my promise, and I was working, man. I was trying my best. I joined a local gym. I went to the local field by my house to try to run on by myself. I went to my college track. I tried to run laps there, and I did what I always did. I quit. I just kept quitting. And then May 2010, I really felt like I was burned out. I was running out of answers. I didn't know what to do. And a really close friend of mine was like, hey, man, like, listen, a lot of us close friends were joining a state of the art gym, brand new gym. Why don't you join? It'll be fun. We can play basketball together, hang out together, be together. It will be awesome. And, the one thing about me, even though I was very heavy at that size, I was, I was a high school athlete. I played high school football. I played a lot of pickup basketball in my community with my friends, a lot of pickup backyard football, flag football. So I consider myself pretty athletic even at that size. But I also think youth had a lot to do with it. I had youth on my side. So I said, okay, sure, why not? At this point, what else do I have to lose, right? I mean, nothing else is working. So why not? Let's join. So I joined the gym, and I remember walking in the gym, and first day of walking in the gym, I see a big sign on the wall. What does it say? It says team weight loss class. And I was like, okay, wow, this is pretty awesome. And it was a class 3 days a week to help people just like me, people who needed a jump start, right? Needed to get something going because nothing was working. 27, 405 pounds. I'm being told I'm going to be dead in 13 years. I got to try something. So let's go ahead and try this. So I joined the class. I took it. And then, long story short, I went 3 days a week. And I remember we had weekly weigh-ins. In the first week, I lost about like 3 pounds. And I was like, okay, wow, like that's pretty cool. And I was like, what if I just come every single day, 7 days a week, do the class hour long, 3 days a week, but then also just come on my own, just do some cardio, do some exercise. Let me just get my body moving. So I did that 7 days a week. I committed to it. I didn't quit. I actually stuck to it. I went to go on the scale for my weekly weigh-in. I looked at my trainer, different trainer at that time, teaching the class. He looked at me. I looked at him. And I'm like, okay, man, you're scaring me. What's going on? He was like, dude, you lost 17 pounds this week. And I looked at him like, what? And I was like, oh my God. And, in that moment, that was the first time in my life where I was like, wow, I didn't quit. I didn't let the wall right behind me stop me. I actually was able to finally take my shoulder and ram it against that wall and break it through. And I actually stuck to a commitment, and I actually kept my commitment and made it. So then I just became a straight beast. From May 2010 to May 2011, I lost my first 150 pounds. And I was rolling, man. I felt like I was unstoppable. I felt like I was on top of the moon. I felt like nobody could stop me. The swag was like just all over. Like the kids use the term, the drip, man. The drip was just flowing off of me, man. I was rolling. So I felt like I was on cloud 900. Forget cloud 9. And yeah, and I felt like this was going to be my summer. I was rolling 150 pounds I lost in 1 year from May 2010 to May 2011. But like, as they say in life, you take one step forward, take 2 steps backward, as I said in my TEDx talk. So lo and behold, even though I was rolling, my father, unfortunately, his health took a severe turn for the worse. We go to Connecticut, July 2011, just 2 months after my miraculous achievement of losing 150 pounds. We go to my cousin's wedding in Connecticut, in the hotel room. My father, his liver blows out, and he ends up dying in my hands at the hotel in the bed at my cousin's wedding. So I'm like, wow. And then talk about salt on the wound or putting up another wall. We had to come home to Baltimore to do the funeral the very next day. So he ended up dying in my hands. Go to Baltimore the very next day for the funeral. I bend over to pick up his casket. I stand up, and what do I hear? I hear a pop in my back. And what happens? I blow out my L3, L4 herniated disc, and I have severe sciatica down my leg, down to my toes. And I'm in excruciating pain. I have over 500 people at my father's wedding, and I can't, my father's funeral, excuse me. And I can't say anything about it because I'm saying goodbye to my best friend for one last time. I mean, I made this promise for him, and he just died in my hands not even 24 hours ago. And now I pop my back. So I'm thinking here, like, why? Like, I always tell people my nickname is the wall breaker because I feel like life has nothing but a bunch of walls in front of you. You're either going to run away from them or you got to go through them. And I think the hard part is you just don't know how strong or how big or how fast those walls come up, man. And you're talking about 2 monster walls that came up right in front of me, back to back. I was like, man, what is going on here? So he ended up passing away. I blow out my herniated disc, and to be honest with you, the fire that I had, it burned out. It wasn't really there. I probably had a spark. So I don't want to say it was completely burned out, but I had a spark. So then I still kept working out. I still was training, but I didn't have like that fire, that passion, because my father was gone. I didn't know what was really left of me at that point. So fast forward to 2016, 5 years, I'm dealing with this pain. I get married. I married my wife. And then 2019, we had our son. And even that was tough, to be honest with you, because we tried to conceive for a few years. And you want to talk about walls, prior to having him, the doctor looked at us after multiple tests and she was like, Raheel, I can't really confirm it why you guys are having trouble having children. The one thing I can say is because of your extreme weight loss or up and down weight loss, your sperm motility count is very abnormal or abnormally low. So the only way you guys can have kids is through in vitro fertilization. And this is the only shot at having a child. So I'm like, oh my God, like, here we go. So I'm the wall now that my wife has to break in order to have our son. So if people don't know about in vitro fertilization, it is a monster. I mean, shots and sickness and seeing my wife taking the beating of her life, bruises all over her body, her stomach, just throwing up. And I remember 6 months in asking her, like, man, like, I don't know how much more you can do this. And she looked right at me and she was like, took her 2 fingers, pointed it right at her stomach. And she said, I'm having this baby, man. Like, nothing is going to stop me. Like, I'm having this baby. And that's it. I don't want to talk about it anymore. So I said, okay. I mean, I support you 100%. Grinded it out, went through November 11th, 2019. Our son was born. She did it. Raheel Siddiqui, that's Rayn, the most beautiful person I've ever seen in my entire life. 6 years old now and happy and healthy and rolling, and the greatest gift of our lives. So she broke that wall down, which was beautiful. And I became a father. And then 2 months later, January 2020, paternity leave is over. I'm in my work garage. I bend over to tie my shoe. I stand back up. What happens? Pop. I blow out my second herniated disc in my back. And I'm like, oh my God. I was in so much pain. I had to drive home, like basically lying down on my side for about 45 minutes in the car without even driving. And then it took me another hour and change to even get home because I was in so much pain. So I remember just crying to my wife and I was like, man, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And she was like, you know what we got to do. We got to get it fixed. We got to get surgery. I put surgery off for 9 years now because I was scared to run through that wall. I just didn't want to have surgery. I was content. The fire became a spark. My father was gone. I didn't know what was left of me, my legacy, but we had to get it done because my wife was like, look, you're a father now. I need the best version for our son. I need the best version as my, from my husband. I need the best version of you. And I know you, man, like you love training. You love being the best version of you. You love being energetic and hype and fired up. And we need that. Our family needs that. You need that. So we got to go get surgery done. I said, okay, found a great doctor, got surgery done the very next week, minimally invasive spine surgery, January 2020, which was 6 years ago. And rehab was tough. Surgery was a success, knock on wood, best decision ever. But now keep in mind, I gained more than half of my weight back, okay? So from May 2010 to May 2011, I lost 150 pounds. I blew out 2 herniated discs. We struggled to have our son. I put my father to rest, and now I'm up more than half of my weight that I gained. Got back surgery done. The rehab process began. I couldn't even walk up and down the stairs. I couldn't go to the bathroom. I couldn't do anything. My wife literally was like a rock of our family. She had a newborn baby. She was working full time and she was taking care of me to recover. So 6 weeks, changing my bandages, walking me around, taking me up the stairs, down the stairs, around the neighborhood, to the bathroom, XYZ, you name it. She did it. 6 weeks goes by. We go see the doctor. And I remember the doctor looking at me, looked at my back, examined me. And he was like, dude, and I'm looking at him like, man, like, I don't know if I could take another wall, dog. What do we got? And he was like, just let it out, man. You're 100% like pain free. Just let it out. And I let it out. And the second he said that, I can't tell you what happened. It's like that fire, that spark, it just came all the way back. And even during those moments when I was rehabbing my back surgery and just doing those walks, I wanted to quit. I was crying to my wife, like, I don't want this anymore, man. Like, I don't need it anymore. And she was like, but no matter what, you made a promise to your dad. And because he's gone, that doesn't mean that promise is gone. And I'm not going to let you quit. Like, get up, get up. And for those moments, man, like those are the darkest of times, and we were able to push through it. And once the doctor said let it out, I finally was pain free for the first time in 9 years, and I became just a straight animal, like a lion out of the cage. So I was able to rip off the weight that I lost, and I lost an additional 30 some pounds. So now I'm down 200 plus pounds. I am in the greatest shape of my life. I did get married. I did have my son. I did become a motivational speaker. I did do a TEDx talk. I do speak on multiple platforms. I do have my podcast called Wallbreaker 200. And I want everyone to know out there that life truly is nothing but a bunch of walls. It truly is, man. Like whatever greatness, whatever dream, whatever accomplishment, whatever success, whatever goals you're waiting for, it's on the other side of that wall. I tell people all the time, the plan is very simple. You want to get from point A to point B. That's it. It's a very simple plan. But the work is going to be extremely hard, okay? Extremely hard, harder than you probably could ever imagine. You're either going to have one wall or a bunch of walls, just as I did, as I just told all of you right now. But it's up to you and you alone. Now, if you run away from those walls, you're never going to see what's on the other side of it. Had my wife ran away from those walls, we would not even have our son. Had I run away from those walls, I wouldn't be here talking to you a few years past 40 in the greatest shape of my life and rolling. And now today I train 2 hours a day, every single day. I have a fire inside of me. Like I'm getting goosebumps talking about it, that just this relentless force of nature that I feel like I am just an unstoppable beast. And I can't thank life for all of it. My father who left me, he left me his heart, he left me his soul, he left me his work ethic, my wife for pushing me through, my son for being my strength. And then for those out there who depend on me and rely on me because they always send me the nicest of messages, friends, family members, loved ones, that they always say that they depend on me and my drive, my fire. And I love being accountable for that. And I love showing everybody that, look, if I can overcome what I overcame, if I can knock down every single wall that stood in front of me, I know I'm built for it now. Those moments tested me. And I think that's the message that I try to tell people. It's, you have to be tested in the darkest of moments. Who are you? It's great when you're winning. Everybody loves to show when they're winning, but who are you, man, when you're in the dumps, when you're in that hole and it's dark outside and it's so deep in the hole and you don't know if you're ever going to see light at the end of the tunnel? Then who are you? That's what defines you. That's what defines greatness. What defines a man, what defines a woman, what defines their greatness. It's who are you, man, when things aren't going your way. So I feel like in the end, to kind of wrap up my spiel, it's any wall in your life is meant to be broken. Just keep taking your shoulder and ramming it against that wall. And if it's worth it to you and it means that much to you, whatever's waiting for you on the other side, oh man, it's going to be the most beautiful feeling ever. How did I do?
You did good. You did good. So I have some questions, right?
Okay.
Your testimony is amazing. So you said 2010, 405 pounds, right? Was the 405 pounds, was that your heaviest that you had ever been, or was that just, so 405 pounds was the heaviest?
Heaviest.
Okay. So at your heaviest, before the doctor's visit with the rude bedside manners. I'm gonna pause on that one real quick. But,
yeah. I know some people feel indifferent about it, but I mean, he had to do what he had to do, I guess. I mean, it worked.
Right. I mean, I have two perspectives on that, but I'm gonna go with my other question.
Yeah, I hear you. It's all good. Trust me, I hear it. I hear you. I totally understand it too. So all good.
So was this your first time ever, like just like in childhood, of saying, hey, I want to lose weight or anything like, was that your first time ever thinking of trying to lose weight, or was you content? Because I know like some people are heavy or what, and they're content in their weight. Were you content up until this doctor's visit?
Yeah, I was always content my whole life. My father, even before that, was always in my ear. He was a pharmacist, as I mentioned. I was a farm tech throughout college, even a year or two after college too. And I worked with him, and he would always be in my ear. And like patients would come in. We'd have patients that would come in that would be on 10 medications, 15 medications. I was severely overweight, and they were content. Exactly what you said. It's like, hey, this is my life. I'm just going to pop one pill a day, every single day for all the issues that they're going through. And that's it. And clearly, obviously they were like a lot of them were older, but he was trying to explain to me, as any father would for their son, like, hey, listen, I'm trying to talk to you because I don't want my son going through this. I don't want you to think this is the rest of your life. Like, you're so young. You still have your whole life ahead of you. Like, don't let this be the end of you. Don't let this define you, right? And I think that's the mindset that I was missing at that age, at that time, until that doctor's visit.
And so that's good, because that was my next question. Like, once it comes to our mindset having to shift sometime, of course, as parents, sometimes the gentle parenting just don't cut. And so sometimes it takes someone saying something so harsh and so rude that stops us in our tracks and be like, well, dang. But like, after you kind of go back and kind of regurgitate those conversations, like, okay, it might be some truth to it, but he didn't have to say it like that. But it might be some truth to what he said. But he came one way, but your father took a loving approach. I'm sorry. And your father took a loving approach to be able to talk to you and just be like, hey, essentially he's saying, I love you. And I want my legacy. I want my name. I want you to go on. Like, it's so much to you. He saw so much potential and so much for your future, but he knew that it was this thing, your weight was a potential thing. And so once it comes to mindset shifts, right? How do you feel once it comes to coaching people along with weight loss, or just talking to them in the delivery style, that, how the doctor came versus how your father came?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a great question. I honestly tell people this. I say one thing that really is important. So I think it's like you said, I think there's two sides to it, right? People, obviously, they tell me all the time when they hear the story about how they hated their delivery, some people, but then there's also some people that say, man, you know what? That was the best thing that ever happened to you, because that's what he felt like the only way that he was going to get through to you. He probably thought that, dude, I can read all these scores and I can give you the whole doctor spiel about X, Y, Z and diet and exercise, but he just thought, okay, none of that's going to work. In that moment, he felt like that was best. So I think it's a combination, to answer your question. I think you have to find a way, when I'm coaching anybody, when it comes to specifically trying to lose weight or trying to get in better shape or health, it's taking the first step. And the first step is what? Telling yourself the truth. And I think the hardest person to tell the truth to is yourself. And I had to learn this a lot in my life. And shout out to, I got to give a lot of credit to a guy like a David Goggins. I learned a lot from him about this too. And he would always talk about this as well. Like, when you look in the mirror, it's so hard for somebody to talk down about themselves. Nobody wants to talk bad about themselves, right? Nobody wants to be like, oh man, like I could be better here, or I am not so great, or it's really hard for somebody to put themselves down. But instead of putting yourself down, you're not putting yourself down, you're telling yourself the truth. And the truth is that I was severely overweight. I was severely overweight. I was probably going to end up, God forbid, I don't know. I mean, the doctor said 40, maybe he was even being generous. I don't know, at the path that I was going on, because I had horrible eating issues, horrible diet issues. And so I think you have to be accountable. You have to be honest. Just to answer your question directly, two parts of this: be honest with yourself. Find a way to dig deep. Be honest. Be like, look, I need to do this. I need to lose weight. I need to accept the reality. This is the reality. And then number two, you have to be open to accepting help. You have to ask for help. You have to be open to it, because a lot of people don't want to hear it. A lot of people shut down very quickly. A lot of people will get all fired up like, yeah, okay, I'm excited. Oh, this trainer showed me a picture. This guy looks jacked. I'm going to look like him. Oh my God. You go to the gym one day, next day you go in the car, you get up, you're like, I can't do this. Like, there's no way. It's never going to happen. I'm not going to look like this guy. I'm not going to look like this girl. I'm not going to look like Chris Hemsworth. I'm not going to look like Halle Berry. Like, there's no freaking way. Go figure, they're in a movie together too. But I'm just saying, it's like, it's the illusion sometimes in your mind that plays these tricks of, oh man, that's why I tell people, like, listen, just admit you have a problem, admit the truth to yourself, and then two, ask for help. But also, whenever you're asking for help, you have to trust the process, trust the plan. It's not, don't worry about comparing yourself to anybody else. Don't worry about looking like XYZ. You know, you have to stay in your lane. It's always you versus you, okay? Don't worry about anything else. And these are a lot of the demons that I had to fight too, Dr. Tish, a lot, okay? I had to really hold myself accountable to that. Like, oh, man, I see a guy in the gym or a celebrity, be like, man, like, they look this, they look like this. I want to be like this, or what are they doing? But then, you know, then it would kind of bring me down on my oh man, well maybe I'm not doing so great, or oh man, I don't feel like doing this. I'm never gonna look like this guy. Who cares? I mean, that's good for them. If they look that great, you don't know their story, you don't know the work that they put in, you know nothing about them. Don't judge them because of how they look. You don't know what their situation is. Don't worry about them. Worry about you. So admit you have a problem, ask for help, and you know, I think that's the third layer. Have a plan and stick to it, because you're never going to be a wall breaker if you don't stick to it.
I think it's good, and it's funny because once it comes to addictions, right? In AA meetings, the first thing they say is the first step to recovery is admitting that you have a problem, right? And then I want to say, you know, step 2 is, you know, asking for help or whatever. So knowing that is always the first step to anything. You have to admit that there is a problem, there is an issue. You know, I got that I might be comfortable with. I'm still getting adjusted to this camera, y'all. Y'all bear with me.
Oh, it's all good.
Because I talk with my hands, and so I think this camera is a good fit because I talk too much with my hand. I would have to sit on my hands to keep this camera from moving. But anyway, and so once you was talking about, for one, I think in order to admit the truth to yourself, it does require a mindset shift, right? Because that means that you have to say, I'm no longer lying about what I see in the mirror. I'm no longer lying about what I see in my bank account. I'm no longer lying about the condition of my marriage. I'm no longer lying about how I feel about this job. I'm no longer lying about whatever. So it does require that, but the process is still the process. And like you said, having a plan and sticking to the plan. But a lot of times in the process, especially of weight loss, it's that stopping, and then it's so hard to get back started. Like I could have a good routine, workout routine, and then once I stopped, it was so hard to get back started. What do you say for those that are in a process that where, and it not just weight loss, but just any perspective of life, but
Yeah.
we could shoot for weight loss,
Yeah.
or those that have took a break, right?
Yeah,
You know how we say, hey, you
sure.
know what, I'm gonna take a break for a little bit.
Yeah.
But you know, Monday turned to next Monday, and then it turned to the first, and then it turned to next year, and then
Yeah. For sure.
how what's your advice for those that's in a cycle right now that's taking a break and they just need to know to get back on it? What would
Oh
you say
yeah.
to them?
Yeah, for sure. No, that's a great question. Well, I think a couple things. And I feel like a lot of times I'm against the grain on this, but I might think differently, but it's all good. That's the beauty of the world, right? We all think differently. But I feel like you have to find a way to be disciplined, how most people say, but also I'm also a firm believer in staying motivated, right? And what I mean by that is a lot of times you'll see reels on Instagram or social media and be like, hey, when motivation fades, you can rely on discipline. Discipline can carry you all the way. Well, honestly, I believe that that's the furthest from the truth. I think you truly need both. You need discipline and you need motivation. So how do we find motivation? You find motivation is very simple, right here. You know, you find it in your own life, in your own story, in your own mind. Go back to those moments where you remember why you started, right? Why did you start your journey in the first place? I'll give you another deeper example for these sports fans out there. And I'm hoping that you'll love this too, Dr. Tish. But you know, there's an iconic clip for Michael Jordan and the Bulls. They had a documentary called The Last Dance, right? And in that interview, it was basically based on Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan had just won 5 championships. And the reporter asked him, hey, Michael, you know, what was your motivation going into the last finals, the Last Dance finals? That was for his 6th championship. You had won 5 championships. You got the MVPs. You got the trophies. You got the money. You got everything, right? What was your motivation? And Michael Jordan had the iPad right in front of him. And he handed the second the reporter finished the question, he handed the iPad right back to him and was like, Karl Malone winning MVP. And that was it. And all he knew, all he cared about was Karl Malone won MVP that year. But to Michael Jordan, he was that motivated and was that pissed and how angry of the fact that you guys thought that Karl Malone was better than me. Are you out of your mind? Like, are you out of your mind? And to me, I just get goosebumps talking about it. I'm sure you see it on my face getting a little red. It's like, that's the fire that I'm talking about, right? Why can't you find, we all have stories in our mind if you dig deep in your mind to find motivational ways to go be the greatest version of yourself. People know Michael Jordan. Just Google the last shot against Utah, Game 6. He held it up high for everyone in Utah to see. Give me my trophy. That's ring 6. And y'all thought this guy was better than me. That's motivation. That's not just discipline. So to answer your question, go back. I forgive everyone that ever bullied me, okay? I really do. But, you know, when you have people tell you to your face, Dr. Tish, hey, you're sitting at a Pizza Hut in front of everybody. You think you have all your boys in front of you. And then one of your boys comes and says, hey, the waitress just left. They ordered 3 pizzas. And then he looks right at you in front of everyone and says, hey, man, that's great. That's just for you. What about the rest of us? Or, hey, man, you're so fat. Why are you even here? You know, or you're standing in a friend's house in a buffet line talking about, hey, man, like, oh, you came. That's great. Save the rest for all of us. And I remember those moments like the back of my hand, just like Michael Jordan remembered Karl Malone winning MVP all year, right? Yeah. So it's the fact of, and he wasn't angry. His beef wasn't with Karl Malone. His beef was the fact of you guys didn't believe in me. You didn't think that I was great enough. You didn't think that I could do it. And I think that's the mindset. Yes, you can. For anyone out there, you can do it. Go back to your why. Why did you start in the first place? Why did you start that job in the first place? Why did you start that weight loss journey? Why did you start that marriage 10 years ago? I mean, and you're saying that, oh, you want to quit. Like, go back to your why. Find different ways to motivate yourself to try to be better in any aspect of your life. Your motivation is right here. I promise you it's here. It's the fact of how far can you dig deep in your mind? Find it in your mind to find that motivation. Once you find that motivation, then you're going to have the discipline to stick to that motivation. And then that's where the marriage becomes, and then the rest is history. You're going to become a wall breaker. You're going to become unstoppable. You're going to be Jordan holding that shot up Game 6 against Utah.
So I love that you brought up motivation, because sometimes the scale is that motivation, or the measuring tape. So 3 pounds, 7 days, and then in a week, 17 pounds. And then May 2010, 2011, 100 pounds.
150.
150.
Yeah.
150. Oh. But then your life, your world shakes, and it's your best friend. Some people do not. I remember my situation with working out. I used to hit it hard, working out. Working out was my hobby. Now it's reading, but it used to be a hobby for me. It's in the military, but I would still do my overdoing it. But I had already had a torn meniscus. And so I injured it, and it was something that it ended for, hold on. I did too much, and then was overcompensating, which of course we know about that, overcompensating on the other knee. So at this time, both knees are shot. They do surgery in the military, and they take out the wrong part, or they mess my knee up even worse.
Oh man!
All right. That was the thing. Like right before I had just made it to my goal weight. That was 2014. I had just made it to my goal weight, and I knew that I was going to have this surgery. So I said, well, I know I'm going to be down for a little bit. Let me go a little bit more. So that way, whatever, to kind of fluctuate for a 5 or 10 pound thing. Right. Well, after hearing that my military career is now shot because a doctor messed up, and I can't sue because I'm military, right? Depression came on, and it wasn't that I was eating heavy or anything. I was barely eating at that. But depression caused that weight gain. And everything that I had lost, I gained back and some. And people do not understand how hard it is sometimes to get back started from that perspective. But even from the depression part, I want to say you said at the funeral when she reached down, and then now you didn't blew your back out, right? Probably wrong thing, but you messed up your back, right?
No, yeah, no, I blew out my herniated disc picking up his casket.
Right.
You know, that's exactly what happened.
So you blow your back out, and in that process is now you have to rest because you have to heal, but you're healing on the back end of my best friend's not here. You still got the whole aspect of trying to have a child, and once again, a doctor comes in and deals you another blow and say it could be because of you. And that fluctuation with the weight loss. So talk about the depression parts that sits up in there. I don't know if you went through that part. And I don't know if that's a female thing or what, but that depression of knowing like I had lost all this and now I got to start back over.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I know it. Oh yeah, believe me, depression hits men too, and if they're if they, I don't want to call anyone a liar, but if a man tells you he never gets depressed, let's just say he's not telling the truth fully, because it hits you, man. It hits us very very hard, like a brick wall, like you see here. No, I was very depressed. I mean, everything that I worked for, everything that I achieved that first year, I felt like I was an unstoppable force. And then it's like any element in life, then you take it, then it's taken away from you, right? It's like, oh man, it's like, why did this happen to me? Why did it get taken away from me? You know, and then just like, why did my dad get taken away from me? I was only 27, man, when he passed away, 28, you know, at that time. So still pretty young to lose your father. So I was definitely depressed. I was so depressed that I was going back to my habits of what helped me blow up in the first place. So I mentioned about the bullying piece, about how I would go to a lot of family events, dinner parties, you know, weddings, wherever it is, and I'd get bullied a lot there. So what I would do is, because I was so afraid to eat in front of people, I would starve myself all day. I would not eat in front of anybody, and then I would go to a fast food joint and just like, you know, order like, you know, a big sandwich, you know, McDonald's fish fillet, supersized at that time if they had it, large, you know, soda, and then dessert, and then I would crush it in my car all by myself, and then I'd go to the event. And so I would be, you know, they would ask me, "Are you hungry?" Right, because they were, "Are you hungry?" Yeah. Well, no, I'm not hungry, but they don't know because it's because I'm full, not because I'm, you know, not because I'm starving. And then I was falling back into those habits a little bit too. I just got married to my wife. So I kind of subliminally put it in the back of my mind, right? I was like, okay, I'll deal with it later, right? I'm married now. Yeah. I'm happily married to my wife. We're traveling, we're eating, you're having a good time, you know, and you don't really think about it. But then I took a picture that I'm notoriously known for too. If you follow my socials, that's in my TEDx talk 1 year after I got married. And I was like, what happened? Just a big spare tire in my stomach, just like flabby chest, like horrible, just the way that I looked and let go. But it wasn't the physical part of it, Dr. Tish. It was the mental. Like, what happened, man? Like, I'm just so depressed and so sad. I'm eating myself back to this again and feeling sorry for myself. The world is against me. Why me? Why me? And those are some dark times, man. I mean, dark times. I mean, on top of getting through the bullying aspect of it was already so hard, but then going back to those traps of the poor eating habits, right? Eating late. I mean, I would literally get like a deep dish pizza, eat it, crush it, 2 liter, crush it, go right to bed and wake up the very next day. And so, right. And that's how depressed I was. And so I was like, man, like, you know, how do we get out of that? But I think, but in all, I will say is I wouldn't change any of it for the world. I feel like everything that I've ever been through in my life, and I want the audience to really, you know, listen to this part too. It's, you really have to find a way to be the greatest version of yourself in the darkness, not in the light. You know, it's so easy to sit there and tell yourself, I am doing great and I'm rolling, and to talk about all the great things that are happening in your life. And that's awesome. And I'm happy for people that are there in that moment. But I promise you, you know, the people that go through and take the beatings of their life and they understand the calluses that took to get to this point of where they are now, man, I can't tell you how precious those moments are. You know, I wouldn't change it for the world. I wouldn't change, you know, losing my dad the way that I did. I wouldn't change blowing out my herniated discs. I wouldn't change what I went through with my wife having our son. I wouldn't change having back surgery. I wouldn't change bullying. I wouldn't change any of it because it made me who I am. It made me an unstoppable force. And I think what you go through in life, the darkest of times, that's where you truly are defined. You really have to find a way to find, you get your greatest strength from fear. Put it that way. Your greatest strength is from fear. When you're the most afraid of climbing that wall or breaking that wall or climbing out of that hole or finding that light at the end of the tunnel and you're scared, that's where you find your greatest strength. You find it from fear. And once you overcome that fear, you become unstoppable. And I wouldn't change it all for the world, man.
Now, I love something that is said, because after your daughter is born, after baby girl is
My
born,
son.
in November, your son, I'm sorry, after your son
okay.
is born
Yep.
in November of 2020,
19.
Okay, so November 2019, your wife reminds you of your biggest motivation, which was the promise that you made to your dad, right? And after that, it was like she gave you back that motivation, that reminder. And I love that what she did was dug deep down on the inside of you and helped you bring forth what was in you. But I love the thing of how you said like we have to go into the darkness part of it, right? To bring forth, for me, I say darkness to bring forth the light that is
it is
for us to be able to shine, right? And so in the Gospel of Thomas, which is not something in the Canyon books, but one of the Gnostic texts, the Gospel of Thomas, he mentions and he said, if you don't bring forth what's in you will destroy you, right? And so it's kind of going back saying, like, if you don't sit with yourself in your darkness and sit with yourself and just be true and make peace with that, because it's a difference of going into that dark place and you're just sitting there and you're just beating up on yourself and condemning yourself. It's a part that said, okay, this is my weight. I am 405 pounds. I have gained my weight back, but I did make this promise. And so it's not staying there. And a lot of times we go in the dark, and the darkness is good for us. That's what a lot of people do not understand. The darkness is good for us. And everything that the trees and stuff, they grow first in the darkness. A palm tree, you know, like this stuff, it grows first in darkness. And we have to learn how to say, you know what, this part of my life, it was good that it happened to me. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. Like, everything that happened to me, it was supposed to happen.
Yep, 100%.
And I'm right where I'm supposed to be today. I'm right on time. I'm not behind. And that's because I have to go through my process, and my process include dark seasons.
Yeah, because it shapes who you are.
Yeah, it does. Because if I had not been through the stuff, and it is funny, because once you have a certain mentality, that, because our mindsets are formed, I want to say around the age of 3. It's once our mindsets are first formed. And so with that, we are starting at that point to shape how we see life. And see, there we go again. How we see life and all this stuff, right? Our mindset, how do I say it? Our mindsets can be shifted. Our brains are not set in stone. It's neuroplastic, right? So we can shift it, but it requires us to retrain our mind how to think. And a lot of times people do not realize that the biggest part of weight loss is mindset. It's mindset. If you have to have a mindset, you have to have a growth mindset. You have to have a mindset that is determined. You have to have a mindset that is resilient, because you will get knocked down. You know, sometimes you will work out and you may have be injured. You may have to sit down and recover for a week. A recovery week is amazing. A recovery month is also amazing sometimes, because your body needs to rest. But at the same time, we cannot give up, because our bodies is a temple. We're mind, body, soul, and spirit. But
couldn't agree more.
So our bodies is a temple, something that we have to take care of. But let's be truth be told, society, and I know we're like cut for time. Hold on, Cameron. Stop doing what you're doing. I'm definitely fixing to get rid of this camera. So, but once it comes to it, I forgot what I was saying with the whole thing.
No, it's all good. Well, you know, I think the beauty of it is, though, now everything that I've been through, and I hope the audience understands this too. You know, to this whole piece right here, it's the fact of now I know, because I've broken so many walls, and in my own personal journey, like life altering, life changing walls, that I know if a wall comes in front of me, I'm ready for it. Right? It's the fact of like sink or swim mentality, right? It's like, oh my God, I'm thrown into the fire and I got to find a way out. And I think those moments really taught me that. Like, I tell people all the time, you know, I wasn't somebody that just went through hell, man. I'm somebody that burned in it. But the difference is now, after I crawl back out, now if you put me back into hell, I'm going to burn the whole place down, because that's just my mindset. You know, my mindset's like, dude, you can't stop me. Like, nothing is going to stop me. Like, I don't care how big this wall is. I'm going to go right through it. Like, I don't care how big of a wall you put in front of me. I'm sure you hear it in my voice. I hope you do. I'm going right through it, and nothing you could do to stop me. And I really hope the audience can understand it. Once you adapt that mindset, you become the most unstoppable version of yourself, and it's the most beautiful feeling ever.
And we have to, now that it kind of, I'm glad you cut back in, because it helped me go back to my thought process then, is that you have to have a wall breaker mentality, because the world is not set up in a way, like just talking about health, right? The world is not set up to make it easy for us to lose weight. Like,
life's not fair.
It's not. And so, though life is not fair, you have to be fair to yourself, right? You have to say, hold on, this is an obstacle. This is a playground. And 100%. I have to make of it whatever I desire to make of it. I have a cousin, and so with her life, and I tell her, I ask her, I say, well, I notice you always tell this part of your childhood. She said, I pick and choose my narrative. Essentially is what she was saying. Like, I pick and choose my narrative. I choose to tell this side of the story, because this is the side that made me who I am. This is the side that, and with me, like, she would always tell her good side, but I was always tell the bad side. Oh, I've been through this, and it's just like, but both sides made us who we are. You know, we're different beings. And so 100%. Understanding that in life, we have to break the walls. We have to go through them. We cannot stop. Full force, count up the cost, go through it. I enjoyed your testimony, your story. Like, listen, I can't wait to see you in Tampa.
Yeah, Tampa, man. It's going to be lit, Dr. Tish. We're lighting it on fire. Come on out there. We're going to put on a show. So excited, so fired up. It's going to be awesome. It's such a great cause for the kids. I'm so honored to be speaking. And yeah, I can't wait to meet you too. It's going to be great. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I had a great time talking. And don't get sick of me now, man. You're stuck with me. Hopefully we could be friends after this.
Look, hey, you can come on anytime and we can talk.
I appreciate it.
But listen, I love networking and connecting with people. So yes, hey, you're my brother now. So hey,
always. Thank you. Likewise. Yep.
All right. Well, thank you. Listen, make sure y'all connect with him. I wish I had. I thought I had put his picture saved, and it's on another computer. But listen,
all good.
His picture is amazing. It's amazing, right? Listen, make sure you connect. He's on Instagram. Hold on. Let me go back. Tell the people how, before we get out of here real quick, tell people how they can connect with you, where they can find you at, he did
Yeah.
mention he has TED Talk. He also has his podcast as well, which is Wall Breaker 2000.
200.
200. I
Yeah.
was close.
No, it's all
So,
good. Yeah, 200 for the 200 pounds I lost. Yeah, no, but anybody out there, please follow me. My Instagram, easiest way, at Raheel the Speaker. You go. I have my YouTube channel. You could type in Wallbreaker 200. My podcast is on there, like she said, and also special announcement: my newly revamped, relaunched website is about to drop any minute now. RaheelSpeaks.com, and I'm going to share it with the group on my socials and make an announcement of it. And I think when any minute now it's going to drop. So hopefully when this episode comes out live, you guys will be able to have access to it. All my links will be on there, and really excited and really fired up. And hopefully I'll connect with all of you.
Awesome. Well, we thank you for stopping by and blessing this platform. Listen, break through the wall. I'm telling you, that's going to be my motto for it.
Yeah, man. You love it, right? I'm telling you, break through those walls, man.
I'm like, I still wall.
That's it. Go right through it. Right behind me, man. Let's go break it down together. Let's do it.
All right. Well, thank you. And listen, y'all have a great week. Check us back next week. We air Tuesdays and Thursdays. Make sure you continue to check the show. Y'all have a blessed one.